Hola, cage fighting connoisseurs. This is KidNateBloodyElbow.com, joined once again by the inevitable, the ineffable, the ineluctable. I even looked that up and know what it means, and I've been using it correctly the whole time. Mr. Eugene S. Robinson, the one, the only, the author of Fight, everything you ever want to know about ass kicking, but we're afraid you get your ass kicked for asking.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We're getting off on a good start here.
We're rolling, which is good because I've had a clusterfuck of a morning. Excuse me.
We've had a clusterfuck of a few weeks here with these tech issues.
Indeed.
Guys complaining about compression issues. It's, hey, man.
You know, what you gonna? You try to put on a three-way every week. That's what a live
podcast. You know, I have, and believe me, let me tell you, there's always that one guy who's less of a three-way guy and more of a three-way enthusiast. And the guy's like texting you the whole time. How is it? What do you mean, how is it? If you're going to show up, man, but I can't be texting you the whole time here,
Too many guys in your three-way, Eugene. That's all I have to say. But
yes,
we need a disclaimer. I've got some.
Crybabies, bedwetters. Do not be disturbed if you get glossed with the DC that don't care. It has less to do with your skills and talents as a fighter and much more to do with the marketing heft and weight that the bald one in the UFC put behind you. Want to get off the DC list to the C list? It's possible. Do it by fight an interesting and or controversial fight, and we will take note. Until then, don't come crying to us, bedwetters and crybabies. That's too long for some people. I'm amazed the guys in the comments are like, you're going, I can't stand that every week. It's too long. Hey, man, what kind of fucking job do you have that 13 seconds is too long?
I know. It's like, do they watch the Andy Griffith show and complain the whole time they're whistling the theme song? It's like, these
when these guys get good about time? These are the same guys who are telling you, hey, baby, I really laid it on you. That was 30 seconds, a good sec. 30 seconds? You mean 30 minutes? 30 seconds.
30 minutes causes chafing and crankiness, Eugene. That's
well, that's why I wrote the book, The 30-Second Load.
That's a charming and important statement. But let's dive right into the fights. All right. And one thing I want to do, I want to rush through the crap because they basically larded this thing up with garbage. Well, not entirely, but there's a good mix of garbage and okay fights. But this is the biggest fight card of 2016 so far by miles, even though there's no titles on the line, even though the super fight fell apart. Well, we do have Holly Holm, Miesha Tate, and that is a big fight, and there's a title on the line there. But this
I don't want to put you on the spot here, but do you feel sort of kindly disposed toward that guy Ben Fowlkes?
Ben Fowlkes, of the Ben Fowlkes 5?
No, that's Ben Fowlkes. He's the MMA writer.
Ben Fowlkes. Oh, Ben Fowlkes. No, I pretend he's dead, actually.
Oh, okay.
I always have. I enjoy his work. He's very talented, but
that's how I feel about some friends of yours whose names we won't talk about. But no, he actually wrote a piece about. He kind of called this I'm calling it that. He did not have the cleverness to call it that, but I'm calling it fight the MMA Jerry Seinfeld. In other words, he talked about it being about nothing, and that's why we love it. And he used to call it the Jerry Seinfeld show, the show about nothing. So
yes,
it's like I actually thought it was pretty clever and pretty amusing.
Ben Fowlkes referenced us.
No. He referenced that the fight against McGregor and Diaz is a fight about nothing. Okay. Yeah, and we love it no matter. He says we love it no matter what. And I'm the one who came up with the genius. It's the Jerry Seinfeld of MMA.
I see.
I came up with that.
And now the signal is just breaking up. As soon as you started to attack Ben Fowlkes, the forces that be.
Oh, as soon as I started to scream, it started to break up.
Well, it's the signal strength, not the mic or the audio quality. So, but let's dive right in. We've got 3 fights on Fight Pass. Then we've got 4 fights on Fox Sports 1. Then we've got 5 fights on pay-per-view. You might know that's less than some cards get. So
what time does it start? Let's go over this.
I'm not prepared.
What time do I need to be?
Yeah, this is regular time. This is going to be 6:30 Eastern time, 5:30 Central, and 3:30 Pacific time.
Man, it gets hard to make that sale. When you got people who are begrudgingly watching the fights with you. Let's start watching at 3:30, and then we will be able to stop at 10. That's fucking hard, man.
Yes. Well, it's quite difficult. We're farming both kids out to different grandparents, so that's
okay. I'm sure your wife is thrilled to be sitting there with you watching them.
Well, she'll probably be going to bed about 8 p.m. So maybe
okay.
I'll get to talk her into watching the fights, but probably not. It's been a while since she used to care back in the George St. Pierre era, but
interesting.
Yep, she liked Matt Hughes actually.
Oh boy, she's got terrible taste in men.
Well, it was the grappling she liked. She was sort of discouraged when she found out he was a jerk.
Yeah.
But
you ever have a girlfriend who tried to broke back trick you into watching gay porn?
Broke back trick me into watching gay porn? I have not. Although I had an ex-wife who did. Yes. As often as she could.
I had to set from the outset. It's okay. I'm not big into pornography.
See, unfortunately, I didn't lay the groundwork for that claim. And so, it was, some ugly quid pro quos there. We won't get into any of that. But yes, it starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, 5:30 Central, 3:30 Pacific time. If you're outside the U.S., I'm sorry, I can't help you with foreign
time. It raises the valence of the don't cares. I mean, in other words, for me to get my ass in front of the TV at 3:30 when I finish training at at 2, shower, get to the place I'm watching it, that takes a lot. So if you make it to a care, you should be happy.
Well, you'll be pissed because they've larded this Fight Pass card with one definite must care. So, although it's a bit of a legacy care. All right, so first up, featherweights, Julian Erosa and Teruto Ishihara.
I know you're the Japanophile, but I can't muster a care. Not to get in front of the TV by 3:30.
Me neither. The kid's got to prove himself before I'm getting excited. All right, lightweight, Justin Salas versus Justin Saggo.
Oh, well, I like the marketing potential of Justin v. Justin, but I don't care.
Yes, agreed. It's Justin versus Jason. Sorry, my bad. All right, but this one, it's a bit musty. It's a bit mothballed, but you'll care. Lightweight, Jim Miller versus Diego Sanchez.
Yeah, I care. Somebody had texted me and wanted to tweeted me and wanted us to discuss Sanchez Hall of Famer, Sanchez Lost Battalion, Sanchez Phantom Toll Booth, Sanchez Major Tommed.
Yes.
Four choices. Where is Diego Sanchez in the fight firmament?
Lost Battalion, Major Tom is after he's cut by the UFC and or retires. How about? Am I right?
Oh shit! Hold on.
So you had an ugly title anyway.
Not Hall of Fame.
No way. Why would he be Hall of Fame? Evan Tanner's not in the Hall of Fame. Evan Tanner wore a belt.
Yeah.
Diego Sanchez never came close to wearing a belt. All right, and Jim Miller is also Lost Battalion heading for the Phantom Toll Booth.
Yeah, I care about this fight, but I share your assessment. Okay, do you have a pick?
Oh man, now see, this is just gonna be used against me. I make these picks for fun.
All right, could you cry, baby? I'll make a pick.
No, that's how I get steamrolled into making bad picks, letting you pick first all the time. Okay, I gotta pick Jim.
This is Princess Bride all over again. All right.
And Jim Miller. Yes, I always dreamed of playing the Wallace Shawn roles. That was always
okay. You would get them. You would get them if you were competing for them. So you're picking Jim. You knew I was going to say Jim Miller, and that's why you picked Jim Miller.
Exactly. I had to because I can't agree with you on a fight this high profile.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to write this shit down and start writing.
Do you have the huevos to pick Diego Sanchez, Eugene?
I just don't. I don't. Well, no. See, yeah, you're right. You're trying. We're now playing tri-level chess. You're trying to block me here. And the reason why I was going to pick Jim Miller is because I see his grappling as being fundamentally sounder than Diego Sanchez.
Diego used to be a good grappler back in the day.
Yeah, but I haven't not seen much glimmer of that for a while, and they've got to get there. And if his way to get there is to get punched in the face several times by Diego Sanchez, it could be, but because I like action though, I'm going to pick Sanchez.
All right, good. I'm glad I talked into it. All right, so now we move on to the Fox Sports 1 prelims, 4 fights. First up, featherweight, Darren Elkins.
Okay, hold on. Fox Sports prelims, they start what time?
I just closed the window. Now I have to look up again. You got 3 fights that start at 6:30 on Fight Pass, so I'm betting Fox Sports 1 starts, I don't know, 2 hours before the regular fight time. My bet is 8 p.m. Eastern time. I
can show up at 5. That's semi-reasonable. All right.
Yeah. So Darren Elkins and Chas Skelly.
I care because of Elkins, but I don't care much because of Elkins, and it's not enough to get me over the wall of care. So I don't care.
Ooh, pretty harsh. I still care about Darren Elkins enough, and I kind of care about Chaz Skelly, so I'll give that a
that's the thing. You kind of care about Chaz Skelly. If Darren Elkins was fighting an old lady with a grocery bag, would you care?
Oh, well, I'd be outraged, and I'd have my camera and ready to upload it to World Star Hip Hop.
World Star Hip Hop.
Yeah, I
okay, so you're going to care about that?
Yes, I'm going to care, but I'm not making a pick. I tell people who are puzzled by the Trump phenomenon that if you're not watching World Star Hip Hop and you're not watching amateur porn, you're not in touch with the American electorate. That's what I tell them. All right, so.
Hey, hold on. Do you watch World Star Hip Hop or amateur porn? No. He watches neither. He's a big Trump guy.
Well, I'm not saying that's causing the Trump vote. I'm just saying they'll understand the Trump vote better.
Right.
Yeah. So
right. You would be able to own in on his appeal better if you watch those.
Yes, and also the hours will just fly by. All right, so middleweight. Marcelo.
Hey, when I did that porn site, and thought they said, okay, we're gonna pay you $4,000 a month to review this stuff. I was like, hot dog. He goes, you can spend it any way you want. You could hire people. I'm like, hire people and let a nickel slip through my fingers. I'm doing all the reviews.
Yeah, big words.
Tough, man. You ever watch 10 hours of porn in a row?
You ever watch 6 hours of World Star Hip Hop in a row?
Well,
after a while, you stop being outraged at the moms who are pushing their daughters to have street fights, and you start to feel like you're part of the problem. That's like hour 3, and then if you push through that wall, it's
like watching bum fights. You know what? After watching bum fights, which I thought was the worst thing ever, and then these guys wanted to advertise on the site. They had a website called Crack Whore Confessions, which was about as low as you could go. Those two things created a perfect storm, and I thought, I got it. Bum fucks, where we got hot chicks who have sex with bums.
That was called Midnight Prowl. Do you remember Contusion? He had a series called Midnight Prowl.
Yes. Well, and a couple of Russian guys, started, and I was like, God damn it, they stole my idea. Let me see how they did it. And I watched the show, and it made me weep inside.
Yes, it's horrible stuff. You will hate yourself for hours. I can't recommend it highly enough.
Hey, the bums were pretty happy.
Yeah, the bums seem to be enjoying themselves. The girls, however, were kind of scarred for life.
And the guys filming it, obviously the guys paying for it, their extra added dollop of mockery and ridicule just was a cherry on the top of a big shit sandwich. Not cool.
It was loathsome, horrible people.
Except I owned the URL bumfucks for many years. I just couldn't bring myself to let it go.
Well, you could do it to mock small towns or something. How about that?
I could, but then I finally just let it go. I got out of the porn business. So
yeah, well, we're all very proud of you, Eugene.
I wasn't making money. That's what it was. All right, see you.
All right, so middleweight, Victor Miranda or Marcelo Guimaraes.
I don't care.
We don't care. All right, welterweight.
I'm being merciless about this for a very specific reason, though. Because
we got to get to the big fights.
Well, and I've been feeling abused this past few weeks, as you might have been able to tell.
Yes, too many crappy fights. But that card Saturday did the same thing. It was endless. I don't care, and then it was a fight I really, really cared about. And they're pushing it. So, all right, welterweight, Erick Silva versus Nordine Taleb.
Yeah, I care.
Definitely. And Erick Silva, Gicht or Gicta? That's
fucking A. Gicta all the way. I mean, I'm only caring and watching.
And that's a guy I can't trust anymore, for those who are
correct. For those who don't know. And I'm watching because I'm thinking of Sam Kinison. And Sam Kinison. Yep, late great Sam Kinison. And he said at one point about Whoopi Goldberg, I initially thought, I mentioned this in Knuckle Up, I initially thought it was Whoopi Goldberg, Elaine Boozler, and Carol Leifer, and he said, "What? An entire nation is afraid to hurt her feelings? She's not funny." And I think whatever magic mojo they thought that Erick Silva was going to bring, an entire nation doesn't want it. The guy's done. He's not. He fights with his head. His head is gone. Why are we watching him? He's not going to outside. I mean, he's cute.
He's still entertaining to watch. Now, don't get me.
Yes, he's entertaining to watch because it's like we like to see people fail upward, but
he's skilled. He's strong. He's aggressive. There's a lot of fun to be had. Just don't pick him or root for him.
Correct. Right. And that's at the bottom of our caring. That's what we're not going to be tricked into picking him. We're not going to be tricked into doing anything else other than caring that he fights. But he is a guy I can't trust him.
Yes, but it's a car wreck, and my eyes will be glued to the screen.
Correct.
So, I will not be missing this fight. And all the best, Erick Silva. I like the guy. I'd like to see him succeed, but yeah.
So what I write on my list, my tote list is I'm not even writing the other guy's name. I'm writing not Silva.
Fair enough, and I'm not getting dragged into that. All right, welterweight, Brandon Thatch versus Siyar Bahadurzada. I can't say his name, but I care about Siyar.
I care. I care as
and
well.
Brandon Thatch, too. These are both somewhat wayward guys, very talented. I'd say they're both flirting with Gicht, but neither's a Gichta.
No, and in this instance, I'd like to pick the Iranian guy.
Iranian? Isn't
he Iranian? I'm assuming.
He's Afghani.
Afghani. Oh, I was close.
Come on.
Now I'm gonna get letters. I'm gonna get letters from fucking Afghanistan. Oh, God damn it. Jake's.
You had right-wing polls commenting on the show yesterday. Outraged.
Who?
The guy that was correcting you on the polling numbers and the.
No. He wasn't a peace.
He said he identified himself as leaning to the right, even though he's not a peace supporter.
I didn't get that part, but
he said it. It's there. Read.
Okay, but you know what? Right means in the context of Polish politics, in the context of European politics. Hillary Clinton is right in European politics.
Well, she is
their left is very, very fucking left.
They actually have a left. That's the operative difference. Yeah. So yes, neocons and neoliberals are both seen as right wingers in Europe. And so you're picking Bahadurzada?
Yes. In that few seconds you were practicing. I like that.
Yes.
I'm going to pick CR. Yes.
Yes, I'm picking Brandon Thatch.
I'd like to pick Brandon Thatch, but he's fucked me before.
Well, we don't want to get into your personal life for Mr. Thatches.
I've looked at life for both sides now. There's a guy here at Jiu-Jitsu. He showed up the first time. I didn't know this guy at all. He's a military guy. He looks at me and says, "Hey, Eugene." I go, "Yes." He goes, "Have you ever had sex with men?" I go, "How do you mean that?" Like he was trying to make me feel uncomfortable. And I was like, well, if it's at a gangbang, I'm technically having sex with men. He goes, "Gangbang? What are you?" So all of a sudden.
So were you the center of attention, or were you just one of the guys?
Good one. I like that. He was trying for the uncomfortability jiu-jitsu, realizing that you can't beat me like this guy. I don't know.
And moments later, your elbows in his eyeball. Is that correct?
No, he was better than I was, so that wasn't good. I did put the chin in the eye socket, but I had to pay for that.
I see. Oh, that'll happen. That's I've learned that lesson many times. So I'm picking Thatch. You're picking Siyar Bahadurzada. All right, now we move on to the main card. Women's bantamweight Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko.
Yep, I care. And Nunes is tough, but Valentina has looked good.
Yes. She moved into the care column, I would say, with her last performance.
She was one of the people moved into the care column. And I haven't seen Nunes has been sort of workmanlike, and I've been waiting for flashes of brilliance. So for me to pick her, I would have to be saying
Sarah McMahon. Remember that? Don't
what's
forget.
That?
He beat Sarah McMahon, submitted her. That was Sarah McMahon.
But Sarah McMahon she's a gal I can't trust.
She's a Major Tom, I would say.
Yeah. Just floating out there. I don't know. So I'm gonna take a bold flyer at Valentina. I'm gonna go for this one.
See, now you painted me in the corner of having to pick Amanda Nunes, and I don't quite trust her. But Valentina had a lot of holes in her game. I mean, she won a split decision with Sarah Kaufman, if I remember correctly, and was aggressive and dangerous, but also had some glaring holes in her game. But so does Amanda Nunes. But I'm picking Nunes. And let's move on. Light heavyweight. Corey Anderson versus Tom Lawlor starting in. What is this fight doing on a huge card?
This is the thing. This is first of all, I care about this fight.
I love Tom Lawlor.
Yeah, but this is one of those fights that just could it be any more insignificant?
Well, if they were both on losing streaks.
No, in the context of that division, could it be any more insignificant?
It's pretty insignificant, yes. But the division itself is sort of insignificant-ish. They've both.
No, I'm looking into the future, and I'm looking into a future that includes Johnny Boney Joni moving up to heavyweight, and it's still insignificant to me.
Yeah, no, it doesn't mean anything.
I'm sorry to have to do that to you guys. I really am, because on the one hand, we've given by giving it a care. On the other hand, we've taken it away. Said, though we care, this is not worth shit. So I don't know what kind of message you should take away from that, except, you know.
Should we resurrect the old "how much would you pay for these fights" thing? Because we got.
No, we don't need to right now. In the
because the main event is worth $65, and then the co-main event is worth like 30. So
yeah. Plus the insult to I'm sensitive to the insult to injury thing. I don't need to do that, but
sensitive. You are so sensitive, Eugene. I'm gonna have to give you the sensitivity award.
Hey, do you remember when I said about the guy, the surfer, and the ship's captain?
Yes.
And my level of sensitivity said, you should at least let the guy back in so that we could, you could have a threesome. That's a sensitive thing to do.
Trolling for a threesome. Or is it tooling? Tooling for a threesome.
Tooling for anus.
Robinson story. That's the meat man. But remember, the dwarves had tooling for a warm tea bag as well.
I can't believe that they got blacklisted because of that whole death thing. I would have thought they would have played that off better. Speaking of which, we didn't address on the show.
was looking to get rid of them anyway, which is why the dwarves were blacklisted for faking their own deaths. He who cannot be named faked his own death. Brilliant performance. If you're not familiar with the dwarves, their first album and first EP are legendary. All right.
You know what I meant to talk about, and if I did it yesterday, the Michael Gira thing.
Talk.
Fucking A, man. There is going to be no bouncing back from that. If you type in Michael Gira, G-I-R.
This is the singer for the Swans.
Swans, yeah.
What's he done now? Because this I have missed. What?
Rape.
He's accused of rape.
Larkin Grimm is a woman he raped.
Allegedly or?
Huh?
Allegedly?
Has he been convicted? After first blasting her through Facebook as slanderous lies, he goes, I'm going to seek my legal counsel. Then his current wife said, this woman has got mental issues. His legal team and his PR person got a hold of him and said, you get the fuck out there. Do not force this woman to go to the fucking district attorney. And then, so he came back quickly the next day with an email that said, it was an unfortunate romantic interlude that thankfully was not consummated.
Wow.
And she said after, saying that, for years, look, I'll work with you, but I'm not, this is not a sex thing, right? And he's like, no. So he's producing the record. She's staying with him at his house with his wife and his kid. And they went out drinking one night as they finished recording the record, went out drinking and went back to their friend's house. And he said, okay, well, I'm too drunk to drive. So you could sleep on this bed. I'll sleep on the floor. That whole sleep on the floor dodge.
The old sleep on the floor again.
Yeah, and then she wakes up to find him with his cock in her. And then when she regains consciousness, completely unlike Bill Cosby, he goes, this feels wrong, and he stops. Now, if you know something about these things, that's the point at which he's not dead yet. He's like, the next day, he sits with her, looks her in the face, and goes, we were both drunk. I really fucked up. I'm sorry. Let's finish this fucking record. Next day, he doubles down. He's trying to make out with her in the elevator. He's sending her sexy text. He's like trying to build on a bad foundation. And she finally sits him down and goes, look, man, I feel really uncomfortable about what happened. It was totally uncool. And I got to tell you, I'm not enjoying spending time alone with you. I'm feeling nervous. He goes, okay. Hollywood fade out, baby. Kicks her off the fucking label. That's it. You asked for this. You fucking asked for this,
Man.
Yeah.
Now you realize it sets an unfortunate precedent, a dangerous precedent. If you start holding men responsible for their actions instead of holding women responsible for men's actions, the entire patriarchy collapses, Eugene.
Well, a friend of mine said, hey man, if this was 1983, this still wouldn't have risen to the level of an international news story. I said, if it was 1983, me and some guys from the Lower East Side would have found him and beat his head in. That's what we did in 1983.
Yes, this is the alternative to legal recourse for sexual assault is vigilante justice.
Vigilante justice, man. Because a guy only does that shit once if he's only got one functioning arm left and can't read.
Yes, yes. The scariest guy in my hometown once raped a good friend of ours, and I wasn't involved. I was very peripheral to this scene at this time. But my other friend, my lovable idiot chivalrous friend, set the dude's truck on fire. And this was a guy who went on to be a Navy SEAL and went on to multiple prison terms. Navy SEAL? Yes, he looked like a Greek god. He was terrifying. The last time I saw him, I was in this hideous basement bar called Sudsuckers in my hometown. It is December 29th. It's 3 degrees outside. There's a 40-mile-an-hour wind. We're in this basement hellhole. The door slams open. This loud booming voice says, "I just broke Plumley's leg. Who wants some?" And Plumley's the guy who owns the bar down the street, who's a 6'7" former football star. And this dude thunders down. He's like, "I'm going to prison tomorrow. Who wants to send me off?" And everybody, all 3 guys in the place are just like trying to blend into the shadows. And it was terrifying. One of the longest 45 minutes of my life. His buddy comes up to him, "Hey, man," and he picks the guy up and body slams him. And that sets the tone. Fortunately, I hid in the shadows while he made other people cry and then went on his merry way. Later, he was murdered by his own son.
I remember this guy. You were telling me about it.
Yeah, this guy is the absolute scariest. But anyway, my idiot friend.
Which brings us around to sort of Cody East.
Yeah. Yes. Not even allegations, the convictions against Cody East. We can talk about that. He just signed with the UFC. Honestly, I'm torn about this because I've long held if combat sports doesn't offer an avenue for convicted felons, where in the hell can convicted felons get a job? We've got a long tradition of this with Sonny Liston, et cetera, et cetera. There's got to be, lots
man, sorry. It's not a fucking charity. It's really not a charity,
Yeah.
I spent a lot. I'm the bald one. I spent a lot of money on this goddamn brand. No way are you gonna fucking run me into the poorhouse by pulling a fucking war machine. Sorry, get a job at McDonald's.
An entirely reasonable position.
Yep.
Yeah. It's hard to argue with, and the old rapey ways of our youth, Eugene.
I knew that guy was done when they described the attack and him stomping his cowering father on the fucking living room floor. It's like, hey man, there's no narrative that you could spin at that point. Oh, the family's behind him. The loving, the cowering fucking parents being stomped into the shag carpeting. Come on, man.
Yeah, that was a particularly ugly chapter from the Cody East story.
And these guys that grow up in places. What boggles my mind, like this guy who eventually was dispatched by his son, is that we're in a day and age where I was in a bar in upstate New York in 1977, and some huge Marine. I was 15 years old. I weighed 157 pounds. This huge Marine comes over to the whole table. There's 4 men at the table. We're sitting having drinks. And he's like, "I'll kick your fucking ass." And we all just sat there, right? And I look at the oldest guy, Vernon, in the group, who was like a karate master. And I look at him, was like, "You're going to fucking take, I'm 15. And I want to," and Vernon just kind of sat there, let's finish our drinks and go. And we got up and we fucking walked out. And I was like, nah. I'm not going to be a fucking 30-year-old man like Vernon and take shit like this. As soon as I could, man, I fucking muscled up. And I'm not just talking about weightlifting, I'm surprised that it takes as long as it does for these guys to get shot in the eyes. I got to pull from the Sammy Bull Gravano book where this guy was like threatening Gravano. And Gravano says, "Hey, the cats says that." Gravano goes, "What?" He goes out and finds a guy in Bay Ridge. The guy is standing in front of like his restaurant or his nightclub. Gravano walks up to him, shoots him in each eye. Like, because Gravano's like, who is going to be a witness against me in Bay Ridge? Daylight. Shot the guy in the fucking eyes. That's what happens to wise guys, you know.
That's the advantage of being in the mafia, however. Those of us not in a secretive criminal organization don't necessarily have that
That was
option.
pretty secretive. Right there.
Well,
it's an organization, yes, but still.
Yes. Those of us on the independent side, not so much. It ends up like No Country for Old Men. When the,
I'm sorry, man. Father or not, I'm not taking being beat. I told my kids, I'll love you forever, and I'll never try to kill you unless you try to kill me first.
I don't want to speculate about the East and their family life, but something tells me that fathers that end up getting stomped down by their sons perhaps
deserve it.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that, but possibly. I'm just saying violence tends to go in circles. So, all right. So, moving on. Light heavyweight Gian Villante versus Ilir Latifi.
I care. I'm a big Latifi booster, and I enjoy Gian Villante from the point of view of gicked,
but he's one of these guys. He's like Bernie Sanders. He exceeded expectations to start with, and then has gicked since then. So okay, he's a gicked, but not quite a gicked.
Man, I keep waiting for American media to come around to where we are on the Bernie Sanders thing, and I don't expect to have it to happen. In the sense that you and I are the only ones that have started to talk about, anti-Semitism in America.
Well, yeah, there's a lot. You don't even have to explain it with anti-Semitism. I mean, unless you're going to say there's anti-Semitism in the black community, Eugene.
I thought it was an interesting moment yesterday when Farrakhan came out and I was at band practice last night, and I go, so that's really not bullshit. Some guy sent me a text. He goes, no, my drummer is like, no, that wasn't bullshit. And I go, what was his rationale? He said, because he's the only guy in the race who won't take Jew money. And I start laughing because I think he's joking. And my drummer's looking at me like, what are you laughing about? I go, well, that's funny. He goes, I'm not joking. What do you mean you're not joking? He goes, that's what Farrakhan said about Trump. He's not taking Jew. I said, whoa. Could we put quote marks around that? He goes, you could put quote marks around that. I was like, Jesus, fuck. You gotta be kidding me.
It's like watching the beautiful mosaic of American culture and ethnicity, the quilt we've woven.
David Duke, Farrakhan, all lined up together.
Just rip it to shreds, set it on fire, smash it. This is ugly stuff, and hopefully the country.
Farrakhan, a Muslim, is supporting a guy who's never wants to get Muslims out of America. I mean, this is the depth of anti-Semitism in America. Fuck.
Yeah. This is crazy.
David Duke and Farrakhan are singing "Kumbaya" together. I mean, this is man. All right.
All right. So, can you go on the record then saying that African American anti-Semitism is the reason Bernie Sanders is losing the primary? Thank you. All right, we've got Robinson on the record, but
there was, the Jews and blacks have a great history together, going back to the civil rights thing. But this started to fracture in the early 70s,
the late 60s, early
60s, early 70s. It started to fucking sour.
I think around the time somebody with a gun walked into the Chess Records offices and started ordering guys around. That would be one of the times.
Yeah, I would say there was a certain point at which the African American community said, these are just white people who talk funny, and then the Palestinians actually successfully, and this was maybe 76, made the claim that what's happening in Israel with the Palestinian territories is exactly what happened with the American Indian. And then things started to fucking shift.
Yes, well, that was before when Eldridge Cleaver was doing his world tour after he had to flee the country after a shootout with the Oakland police.
Eldridge Cleaver, the rapist.
Well, one of many things you can call Eldridge Cleaver. Also, the former spokesman of the Black Panther Party and a great writer. And a critical, pivotal writer for the civil rights movement.
Yeah, no. I'm thinking of the guy who made the pants with the cod pieces and admitted to raping women in Oakland and Soul on Ice. Soul on Ice is a very good book.
Yeah,
but
so is Pimp by Iceberg Slim, but I wouldn't hold up either guy as a moral model. But they're, to me, they're powerful, great books. You know, just so is In the Belly of the Beast by Jack Henry Abbott. I still wouldn't lobby to get him out of prison. And Eldridge Cleaver, of course, does this world tour.
Abbott's dead, but yes.
Well, yes, but I mean, I was referring to the 80s
Back
when
then,
Mailer got him out of prison. Yep. All right, so I was using my time machine there, Eugene.
Yeah, okay.
Try to keep up. Okay, so Eldridge Cleaver does his world tour with all these dissident regimes, you know, and at the end of that, he comes back. He's like, "I'm voting for Reagan."
Yeah, that's right.
I've seen communism in practice around the world. I'm voting for Reagan. So Eldridge Cleaver had many issues. I don't even know how we got into that. All right, so. John Villante, Ilir, Latifi. We both like Latifi? Is that what we're saying?
I both like Latifi, man. He's on my list.
Yeah. I got to go with him, although holes in his game again could be capitalized on.
Yeah.
But Villante,
not so strong, not so strong in places that I don't think John Villante has a fight IQ to capitalize on. So.
No. All right, so now we get to the big stuff. Women's bantamweight, Holly Holm, fresh from dethroning Ronda Rousey at UFC, whatever it was, against Miesha Tate, the woman who lost to Ronda Rousey twice, but was her toughest challenge before Holly Holm came along.
I'm going to say that this is incredibly an incredibly significant fight from the point of view. I think that Miesha Tate is going to fight harder than she fought Ronda any of those two times.
She's fighting for her life here. I mean, this is it. If she wins, she's the champion. She's a star. She's got a chance to get in the conversation. She's got a chance to do the big TV shows like Rousey did, like Holly Holm did.
Doesn't. No,
well, she thinks she does. That's
her Q rating is, in my mind, very low. I wish she would.
But you know, she's got over 1 million Facebook followers, like 2 million almost.
Yes, because she keeps sending out bikini photos. You
know?
Whatever.
You know, I mean, but in her head, this is her ticket to the big time, to the mainstream.
Which is also lays a pathway for Holly to win it. Because you get somebody who's overeager and they're going to end up staring at the lights, you know. It's
entirely possible. So you're picking Holm.
Well, we care, and
because this fight, if this fight is a big deal, then women's MMA in the UFC has an immediate short-term future post Ronda Rousey.
Yep. I don't. You know, this is where I get into not so much the conspiracy, but when you start to think of. Like if you have the Florida Marlins and the New York Yankees, or let's say the Toronto Blue Jays, I don't know much about baseball. Toronto Blue Jays, New York Yankees playing, this is going to be a short series because nobody gives a fuck about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm just guessing. I'm saying, I don't know. They might. If it's the New York Yankees playing the LA Dodgers, that's going 7 games because everybody cares. So what this is, I got to look a little bit downfield to come to make my consideration.
There's a lot of 4-game series between New York and LA teams, or New York.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But not a lot. But there's some. But all right, so I'm going to look downfield on this one and say, if Tate wins, you know, this sets up a completely unnecessary 13 months post facto where she then fights Ronda again. Ronda takes it again. Ronda rematches with Holly, and Ronda loses it again as one possible scenario. Yes, and I don't think. I mean, there's not a lot of juice in that. There's not a lot of juice in that, you know. So the juice is right here. Seeing Tate fight harder than she's ever fought before, and in the end pulling a Susan Lucci. I mean, her road to victory is grappling, you know. She's going against somebody from Jackson Jackson Wink. I mean, the likelihood that she's going to be bested, that she's going to be able to best somebody with a fight IQ where Holly Holmes obviously is, I don't know. I mean, Holly is pulling from the Chuck Liddell fucking book, you know. I'm not afraid to get clipped by you, and I can keep you on the outside, and I will critically damage you before you get in close enough to do shit to me. You know, and I don't see Holly as short. Long story short, I'm picking Holly because it's good for the game. It's better for the game. It keeps the money rematch between her and Ronda a money rematch, and it avoids a spectacle of Tate Rousey 3, which I don't think anybody wants to see.
Yeah, it's true. But people will see it. They'll enjoy Ronda getting a comeback win.
Yes, she's got to stay. That's what Tate's good for. Ronda's road back. Tate is good for that.
And it sets up 2 money fights for Ronda Rousey, whereas if Holm wins, there's only 1 money fight.
Correct.
And probably out for Ronda Rousey. But I, too, am picking Holm. Although, before the Rousey fight, I think we both would have picked Tate to win this fight.
Yeah, because they're fucking they gaslit us, man. Those Holly fights were her first few fights in the UFC were fucking terrible.
Yes, but your faith in the fact that somebody deliberately gaslit us is touching.
They said as much.
Who is they?
Her fucking team. They said we wanted to win. We weren't interested in domination. We just wanted to win.
I see. And you
were deliberately holding back.
I see.
I read it on Bloody Elbow. It's got to be true.
Of course, the article is well sourced and accurately quoted, but I'm not responsible for the conclusions you leap to.
Who was the guy who wrote the piece on Bloody Elbow? Mookie, about Silva should retire.
The hot opinions. If you see the headline "hot opinion," it means
I got it. I thought it was so crazy. He might as well have written. Eating poop is good for you. It might be, but I'm not reading the piece.
Well, the piece was amazing.
No, seriously. Yeah. Because you take guys who are not in the top 10 in the middleweight division, and you're telling me that they're somehow more interesting and significant than Silva. Fuck it, man. We don't have anything to talk about at that point. You're crazy.
Well, I don't want to be put in the position of defending Mookie's tongue-in-cheek satirical piece. So
I didn't read it. See, so that's what I'm. That is what I'm
hot opinions. The term "hot opinion" means it's going to be kind of tongue-in-cheek, over the top.
See, I didn't know that. I just thought it was something you made up.
It's just like if you see Care Don't Care preview, we might talk about the fights. We might talk about gangbangs and punk rock icons raping people. What a bummer, man. I've been a fan of Michael Gira for 30 years, although I never got to the second phase.
And then he had this thing happen on his Facebook page where people were like, I support you 100%, Michael, and then there was a little bit of like the slut shame and that, this half-talented musician is just using this to up her name, and it was like, then it was like the whisper, windy quiet after his release of, well, it was an unfortunate exchange. You know what? Any guy who supports him post facto, I would say, can you lend me your anus for 30 seconds? And let us have an unfortunate exchange with your anus, and then see if the next day I could talk you into, hey, man, come on.
Have a latte. Maybe head down to the gym for a steam.
Right. Let's just, come on.
You want a Quaalude? I got
just stuck it in once. Don't be a baby.
Yeah. But, the thing is, Woody Guthrie was a notorious date rapist by his own account, and the standards have changed. Like,
she's saying this happened 4 years ago.
I know. I'm just saying that this is the sort of thing you could get away with in the 30s, 40s, 50s.
But you understand. He's not getting in trouble because he stuck his penis in once. He's getting in trouble for all the pre-harassment. One penis,
and the post-harassment.
No, I'm not harassment, and then the fucking getting dumped from the label.
Yeah, and even putting his cock in her in the first place, I think, should be, and is a felony. Yep. So it's just the kind of felony that is frequently unreported because because it's a horrible world. Anyway,
I was ranting about this, and then somebody looks at me and gives me the whole glass house thing. I goes, find somebody who's complaining. Find somebody who's complaining. I'll be glad to have an honest airing of my. There's nobody complaining. That's the point.
I see.
There's nobody fucking complaining. Somebody tells me no, I'm like, hey, you're crazy. You're missing out.
A noble sentiment, well expressed, Eugene.
Yep,
but we've got 15 minutes, and we've got one of the biggest fights to talk.
Okay, let's do it.
Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, 170 pounds, welterweight, nothing. Supposed to be a lightweight title fight. Javier Dos Anjos got hurt 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago. Nate Diaz steps up. Diaz offered to fight at 165. McGregor had been scheduled. Normally fights at 145. Had been scheduled to move up to 155. Agreed, insisted on fighting at 170. Now it's on Stockton versus Ireland. A lot of smack talk. This is commercial magic.
I can't even think about this in the same way. I mean, this is, some guy at one of the comments was giving me a hard time. He was like, man, you're always talking about sadism. This is the height. This is the height of sadism. I can't believe, Nate's getting off the couch and you want him to fight one of the top flight guys. This is going to be a good match. I go, getting off the couch. He just fought in fucking, what was it, December?
Yeah, and he looked good.
And he looked good. And the Diaz, they have their own school. They're doing jiu-jitsu every day. They're training for these triathlons. You know, the guy is not taking a fight because he thinks he's ill-prepared. This is not, they shoot horses, don't they? You got to be kidding me. This is a game, man. This is a game fight. This is, I'm super excited about it, you know?
Yeah, me too. Nate Diaz, a legit lightweight contender who's fought at welterweight many times.
Yep.
And he just coming off a fight of the night performance against Michael Johnson, wherein he looked sharp. Admittedly, the fight before that against Rafael dos Anjos, he looked like shit. He did look like shit in the previous fight. But, and he's lost 3 out of his last 5. But he's still Nate Diaz. He's still got an awesome style. He should present some problems. He's got a lot of reach and height on McGregor.
And also, people don't even realize that McGregor is pulling from the Diaz playbook. In other words, the Diaz they haven't said this themselves, but I've said it about them. When they sign, and even now, before they sign, like Diaz is already, Nick is already fucking with Bisping. It starts, you know, they're planning their futures in a way that makes sense because they care about cash. You know, I mean,
they know how to promote fights.
Given where, who else is Bisping gonna fight? Do you care to see him fight anybody else? But him and Nick. Oh, Jesus Christ! Now I'm excited. Nick puts that tweet out. Bisping, smart man that he is, goes, "Fucking hey, buddy, ding dong." Who else in middleweight do I want to fight? What do I want to fight? You know. I mean, Jacare, Musasi, you know, let's wait on those. Nick, I'll fight Nick because there's the money move. It's a money move, you know?
Yes.
And so when they agree to a fight, even before they agree, the Diaz start crawling to people's brain. And
it's not just promotion, like you're saying. It's a part of the fight strategy.
It's part of the fight strategy.
One thing I got to speak up. People are still mad about Anderson Silva goofing around in the cage. They don't get that's part of his fighting strategy. That's how he distracts people, pisses people off, gets them off their game, and gets them to make mistakes. It's the same thing with the Diaz brothers. They know they can go, they can intimidate, they can bully. They can either intimidate some guys into folding, or they can goad other guys into making a mistake. All the way back.
And they're also impervious to having their brain pans crawled in. Because if you attack, you know, your need to fucking defend is very low. So it was great to see that first press conference with fucking McGregor actually being back on his hit, and because they're not stupid guys. The assumption is, oh yeah, fuck 209, fuck and so McGregor is pulling from that playbook, and he's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck either. And he goes, I don't give a fuck about your belt. I don't give a fuck about the belt. And then Nate goes, why do you take it everywhere with you then? Man, he took you back, Jack, and you can see McGregor kind of go, oh shit. But he's what's great about McGregor is he is making adjustments constantly. Like I said, as he's walking to the car with the guys from TMZ, and they're saying, you called him a cholo. Don't you think that's kind of racially pejorative? And he goes, you're a fucking asshole. He says to the guy from TMZ, but rather than jump right into the SUV, when he sees a gaggle of fans, several of whom are Latino, he veers to the left and start signing autographs. You know, it's like, even I, a master PR guy, I wouldn't have been fast enough to make that fucking pivot, man.
He's a star. He's a star. And it's going to be very interesting also to see that play out in the fight strategy. You got McGregor with his karate-based game going against Diaz with his straightforward plotting style with lots of punches and bunches. Leg kicks, not McGregor's thing, but that's been the book on how to beat the Diaz brothers is with the leg kicks.
As Josh Thompson showed,
Yes. And
some dumbass was putting it up on the Diaz brothers page. Is this how Diaz is going to beat McGregor? And they showed the Josh Thompson clip. And I go, what kind of Josh Thompson nut jumper is kind of maneuvering to put Josh Thompson back in the conversation?
Was this Josh Thompson posting that?
I imagine it was Josh Thompson's. It was Tom Johnston. You know.
Indeed. So, I mean, this fight, I don't know that it takes anybody anywhere. I don't know if McGregor's already basically said, I'm done with Rafael dos Anjos. I'm moving on up to welterweight. Like, after I beat Nate, I want a title shot at welterweight. And if he beats Nate, hey, I think people will let him have it. I mean, McGregor, as long as he keeps winning, is going to keep riding his own ticket. no matter how stupid he wants to get.
Well, hey, you know what? What I thought was great, man. I mean, have you ever seen a guy who was Major Tommed, who's a fucking belt holder like RDA?
This is, this whole thing shows that the champion belt is fungible. Like, there was a time when if you were a UFC champion, that had a certain marquee value because the brand name itself was higher. And so these titles, even if they went through transition, still maintain some marquee value. But what we've seen is like welterweight plummeted. When John Jones left light heavyweight, that division plummeted in terms of popular interest and appeal. Lightweight hasn't recovered from BJ Penn losing. And so, Rafael dos Anjos missed his chance, man.
BJ Penn. That's another circle now we got with Michael Gira and BJ Penn.
Yes.
Again, a guy who's itching to get shot. I mean, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I know that if you come by and try to disrobe my fucking woman, you're gonna get shot in the eyes. That's it. I mean, unless you physically have restrained me from getting to the firearm, you're going to get it. And if you have restrained me from getting to the firearm, as soon as you leave, if you haven't killed me, you're going to get it. That's it.
Indeed. There was a serial killer in Texas, Kenneth Allen McDuff, who was a horrible monster.
How come they always have 3 names?
That's part of the press convention.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, But this guy killed like 3 teenagers when he was 18 in the 60s. Went on death row forever. The death penalty was overturned. His family had money. They put together like a non-profit Justice for Kenneth Allen McDuff. They had him on 60 Minutes. They got him off. The whole bit. He went out there, killed more people, and eventually was executed. But his brother,
I love that. Everybody knew it was going to happen, and
they did anyway. But his brother, Lonnie McDuff, who unfortunately had a speech impediment and referred to himself as
3 names.
Well, because he did never get convicted of anything. But he did get tried in a different court, the People's Court, as it were. He called himself Wuff Tough Wani McDuff. And he was a chip off the old block in that he was a bully and allegedly a rapist. And so supposedly he was employing a local redneck on a construction crew, sent the guy out to work on a job, went by the guy's trailer, and pays a visit to the dude's wife. This wasn't a consensual visit. And then the next day tried to do it again. And dude called in sick and put Lonnie to sleep.
The second day, so what you're saying is he sent the guy out to the site again, the guy doubled back?
Yeah, the guy didn't leave.
His wife essentially told him what happened.
Yeah. And so Lonnie McDuff gets tried and executed summarily. Good. And then when his brother, when Kenneth McDuff gets out of prison, he calls this guy up, and it was like, hey, I'm Lonnie's brother. You killed Lonnie. And he's like, you know where I'm at, Kenneth? Come on by. Yep. And Kenneth never shut up. Kenneth had helpless teenagers and women to prey on. And
in fact, I get that call. I say, hold on a second. Put the phone down. I get in the car and I go find him.
Indeed, Bibi
Netanyahu said it best. Given the history of my people on this planet, if the choice is to underreact or overreact, I'm going to choose to overreact.
Well, indeed. But Bibi, I'm not a fan of Bibi myself, but I can see where he's coming from time to time. Yeah. Did you ever see the movie The Silent Partner?
No.
With Elliot Gould, it is a classic from the 70s.
All right, don't tell me anymore. No, because
I'm just going to tell a little bit. Elliot Gould plays a mild-mannered bank clerk who realizes that somebody is planning a robbery at his bank branch, and he helps himself to.
Nice. Okay, don't tell me anymore, please. Okay, I loved Elliot Gould. I will actually watch it. So.
And it turns into a hyper-violent battle of wits.
I keep saying, don't tell me anymore.
I gotta tell the viewers. I gotta tell the viewers here. Cover your ears.
And then he has sex with the chick, and then they're good.
There is a sex with the chick. It's a 70s movie, but but this Silent Partner with Elliot Gould, I highly recommend it. All right, so I also highly recommend UFC 196. Conor McGregor.
So you have a pick.
Oh man,
I've already made my pick. It's on record. If you watch Knuckle Up, But go ahead.
Yes. See, I can't let your picks influence me, and this.
Why you don't know unless you watch Knuckle Up? You don't know.
I did watch Knuckle Up. I have to watch Knuckle Up. I got to know if we get every time Knuckle Up comes in the air. I've got to watch it because I'm always like, is this the one Eugene gets me fired? That's don't be tempted. Don't be tempted. But I've got to.
At the end of the show, you know, the guy's like, oh, phew.
No, I'm basically like, well, probably nobody's going to watch the whole way through that cares, you know, and has firing decision. But so I got to go with McGregor. I
Good.
just got to.
All right, and that's how I feel about Diaz. He has never been on Knuckle Up. Nick has, so he's a known associate. But I got.
You got regionalism and nepotism motivated.
Yeah, I got Gil, friend of Knuckle Up. Jake Shields, friend of Knuckle Up. Nick's been.
See, whereas I'm motivated by financial interest, the Conor McGregor gravy train needs to keep going desperately for my business reasons. So I'm not.
Well, that's true, but you know, if he loses his fight, he loses nothing, really. You know.
Well, it takes a little shine off him. Yeah,
which sets him up nicely because he seems to be now fallible. Sets him up nicely for whatever fight he's got coming after. He's gold no matter what, man. Driving. And did you see that shit that he pulled? Oh my God. You can't buy this kind of fucking PR where he's driving by the guy's house and he sees the guy on the balcony has got a cutout of McGregor. And he goes, I drive by his guys. I'm in Vegas now or LA or wherever he is now training. I drive by his guy's house. And so he's driving by in his Rolls and the guy's on the balcony. He goes, hey man, I'm going to come see you tomorrow. And the guy's like, oh God, oh my God. And so the film crew follows him. He shows up the next day at the guy's fucking house. And the guy's like tearful. He's like, hey, and he's like, Conor's just, you got my shoe, man. I don't even have this shoe. It was just beautiful, man. It's like you guys, like he said, I'm doing all I can to feed you bums. And it's like, you should, this is really fucking great. This is how you should handle a fucking championship, Yes, I'm sorry. Johnny Boney Joni should look and go, Jesus Christ, man, this guy is fucking smoking me,
Completely.
I mean, every single belt holder, Robbie Lawlor, I love Robbie Lawlor, but he's like, I got a belt too, don't I? I mean, it's not in his character. You can't fake it. You can't fake the funk.
No, but see, Robbie Lawlor doesn't even see himself in that category. He's just interested in fighting and thinks it's all bullshit. John Jones, though, thinks of himself as a major star. Mm-hmm. And so he should be paying attention and learning. Although I don't know how he would put McGregor's playbook into action. But I mean,
no, not everybody. Yeah,
John Jones could do that he doesn't do or isn't doing or hasn't done. So, yeah, but this is going to be big. UFC 196, McGregor versus Diaz, Holm versus Tate. Big doing Saturday night. Bloody Elbow will have all the results. Zane will be back with Conor in the vivisection.
Zane, yeah. Zane's actually coming to the Oxbow shows.
Is he?
I don't even have to quiz him. I don't even have to quiz him because I know he knows the answers. So he's on. I have a standing offer. Portland and Seattle, standing offer. Anybody who's a fighter, I put him on the list. But you can't gaslight me. I don't want music people getting in on this.
I see. You're gonna ask some serious UFC trivia questions for the chumps.
Yep, for the chumps. Don't try to game me. I'm gonna ask him fast. You're gonna call me, and if there's too much of a break, no Google in no lifelines.
All right.
So somebody just texts me and says, if Ronda beats Tate, should she win, she retires. No way she'll risk losing again. She gained 60 pounds the first time. What do you think happens the second?
Ouch. I mean, yeah, but boy, would people hate her if she did that. That's,
Well, so what he's saying is if Tate beats Holm and then Ronda beats Tate again, she's going to sidestep Holm and just retire. Not try to avenge. And I think she could justify it. And what this guy who's texting me said was a point, I don't know if he wants his name mentioned, the point that he says that people are glossing over is the fact that Ronda's about to turn 30, right?
It's a big psychological benchmark.
Yeah, so, the whole baby thing, the whole bit,
Yeah, entirely possible, Anyway, we'll have the vivisection tomorrow. We'll have the 6th round after the fight. Eugene will have Knuckle Up on Sunday. I don't even care about the next UFC, but we'll cover it. Follow us, read me on Bloody Elbow. Follow us on Twitter at KidNate, at Eugene S. Robinson. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. Show us how to do the thumbs up, Eugene.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a little thumb icon, and you click on that. But it's fun to make Eugene flip off the camera.
I'm working on something. It's like, I did a game called Pimp Hand. And you operate the little hat and a hand with a car antenna in it, and you chase prostitutes, and every time you hit their asses, money comes out, and they go, you try to raise, and I couldn't find a single designer to design it. Once I started telling them about it, they're like, I can't do that. I can't do it. You know who I finally got to design the game?
Who's this?
My sister, the animator. She came through, man.
Oh, what a horrible world. Yes. Oh,
I think I'll tweet it out. So if you guys are on if you're at my Twitter feed, I will tweet. I'll find it and tweet it out later. It's a great game.
It's yes, we can't reinforce pimp culture enough, because exploiting people's misery for profit is really.
Hey man, I backed off of bumfucks. You can't have everything.
Well, I'm glad to see you've learned some wisdom in your many years. All right, so I'm trying to get all the plugs in. Aussie.com is where you can read Eugene. Read me at bloodyelbow.com. We gave our Twitters. We get MMA Nation on iTunes and SoundCloud if you want the audio without the ugly. And I believe that's all our plugs. So adios, MMA aficionados. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Eugene.
All right, man. Later.